Well, just to kick things off, a lot of you know me, but my name's Joey Zokowski. I'm the creative director of Toontown Rewritten.
My name's Tony, also known as Ro. I'm the lead producer for Toontown Rewritten.
My name is Ellie. I am one of the creative media leads and also the art director for ToonFest.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm a producer for Clear Coasts.
My name is John Cody. I am a technical operations team member and tech director for ToonFest.
All right, and we can get things started with our first question over here. Just let us know your name and what you want to know.
Hi, my name's Jenny. I wanted to ask about the joint adventures with the buildings. Is it going to be set where, for example, like Cellbot will only appear with Cashbot, or is the plan to have like Cellbot can show up with any of the other three?
That's a really great question. Lindsay, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so Joint Ventures is still in the works, but as of now, we are considering all types of combinations and what that might mean for in combat. Maybe they have different status effects or things like that. We just haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but definitely we're considering putting any two cogs with any two cogs for any of the buildings.
Yeah, one of the things we'd really love to hear your all's feedback about this weekend as you play test Joint Ventures is what sort of special abilities might you want to see when cogs team up? You know, what would happen when Cellbots and Lawbots work together? Is there a special attack that they unlock and all that sort of thing? So these are all things that we're considering and are on the table for that feature.
Awesome, thank you.
Hello, I'm Jonathan. My in-game name is Silly Sparkleface, and this one's for Joey. My question to you is, do you even lift?
You know, I wish I had a picture that I could put on the screen, but I've actually visited the Toontown gym in Disneyland and tried lifting. There's a dumbbell there, but the middle of it just came up and the others just stayed on the ground. So yeah, I tried to lift, but thank you for the question.
Hi, this is Jeremy. I'm Heidi, and this is Stitch. And we have a question. If ever Toontown rewritten shirts make like for the gag and gear, if ever Toontown rewritten shirts make like the blue shirt, the new one, the original one, the purple birthday shirt, and the Toontown shirt for the Toon Enough pack will be available so people can get it shipped to them if they can't go to ToonFest.
That's a really great question. So just to repeat it back, the question was, will past Toontown shirts, like ones from Toon Enough passes or even the blue Toontown rewritten shirts, be available through Gags and Gears for good?
Yeah.
I guess, Ellie, do you want to take this one? You want me to answer it?
Yeah, I can answer it. So I am currently helping manage the Gags and Gears for Good project. I've been doing a lot of work with the Flippy and Funky plushies right now. So definitely we don't want to just stick to plushies for Gags and Gears for Good. The reason we went with makeshift is because they're going to open up a lot of opportunities for us for things like hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts. Definitely would love to bring back some designs that you guys love. Would love to hear your feedback on what you want to see for Gags and Gears for Good. I will say that we have been, nothing set in stone yet, but we have been considering redesigning our team shirts. And we hear you guys how much you love these shirts and how much you would love to own them. And obviously the issue with that is we don't want everybody to be represented as team members that aren't team members. But we do plan on redesigning these eventually, so that way we can get this design for all of you guys who have been wanting a blue Toontown written.
Yeah, we don't want to keep it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh no, a cog snuck in.
Sorry, let me start over. I've been in my cog disguise too long. So, Skelecogs have been around since the beginning of Toontown Online. V2.0's came out with BossBot HQ. Now, I may have asked this before, I actually forget. With the release of the V2.0 cog disguises, is it possible at some point in the future we might see V2.0 boss cogs?
Ooh, that's really interesting. I don't know, Tony, do you want to talk about this one? I know you've been sort of in the COG headquarters space with under new management and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure it's been on our minds for a long time now. I mean, it was something we were considering with the like V2.0 disguises as well. It's like, well, could there be like a hard mode for these bosses? And it just wasn't within our scope to do that. If we wanted to get under new management out like in time, that would have like added another year, truthfully, or more. And it's even been considered in past. I think like if I can talk about it, like I know Shelved Task Force at once considered it.
Yeah, there were plans for the original scope of the Shelved Task Force that we talked about, maybe a hard mode VP attached to that. There was a space in the hideout even designated for it that you may have seen in the game. And it's one of those things that, I don't know, maybe we'll revisit someday. But it's always sort of balancing, like with Shelved Task Force, with under new management, it's sort of like we have to cut ourselves off at a certain point because otherwise we would just work on it forever and then you guys would never get to play it. And so we always sort of try to figure out the line of like, okay, we should release this part of it and then save this part for a future project. And hard mode bosses has always been one of those future projects that we're considering. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher, and my Toon name is Titanium. And since we commonly fight supervisors in the COG facilities, have you ever thought about implementing street supervisors where they can have their own cheats and their own loot? Kind of like street managers in Corporate Clash.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Not to repeat myself, but yeah, like that's definitely something we've like considered for a while. And I'm not sure if there's a way to do that anytime soon, but yeah, I mean, I could totally see a world where like we do some kind of like limited event, like Skelecog, maybe with like some new status effects or a nice combination of status effects. And I mean, considering with the joint ventures, I could totally see like a world where there's even like some kind of special souped up version of a normal cog with just some nice like status amplifiers to the battle and things like that.
And one of the things that our team did for the first time this year is, or actually we've done it before, but in a smaller scale, we called it the Trolley Game Jam. And in January of this year, we took a pause on all of our projects and let our team work on anything they possibly wanted to work on, just for fun, to see what sort of exploratory ideas we could have for Toontown. One of those ideas, I won't reveal the full thing, but one of them did very much explore the idea of supervisors on the streets and like what if there was some special cog building and stuff. So we did some prototypes of it. There's a lot of excitement on the team. It's not one of our active projects right now, but there's definitely things that we've looked at there.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel. I go by Sir Devshire Applewood in game. I wanted to ask whoever wants to answer about Jellybeans. Specifically, I was wondering both if there's anything being done to revitalize the Jellybean economy, make it new and fresh. And I was also wondering, well, I wonder what would happen if my Doodle all of a sudden developed a taste for a particular color of Jellybean.
Ooh. So I think one of the problems that the Toons have run into a decent bit is none of them really seem to know anything about economies. They they sort of leave that to the cogs. I mean, when you really think about it, a currency that you can eat is a kind of a weird idea to begin with. It's a difficult thing to balance. And so, you know, like I would say that there's been talks on the team about, is there anything we can do to help out the Toons with their economy? But there's also been talks about like, it's kind of fun to just have these bean fests where, it's super overpowered to get 600 jelly beans in a Unite, but also it's super fun to get 600 jelly beans in a Unite. And like, we don't really have like a trading system in the game and stuff. So like, it's all sort of personal anyway. That said, yes, we do want to do some balancing of jelly beans at some point. As for the Doodles developing a taste for jelly beans, I don't know. I mean, maybe with next update, we've talked about some Doodle stuff.
We certainly have. I mean, just with the main panel, we were thinking about like ways to make like Doodle training more engaging. Obviously lower scope, but that's an interesting idea for sure. We could talk about.
Yeah, maybe we could give them the Bean Boozled thing, where
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
good or bad jelly beans. You know?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Anya. My tune is named Sandy Sparkleson, and a question about Clear Coast. If since I hear that, didn't I hear that cogs are going to be in the Clear Coast roaming around? If so, then what key role will they play around Clear Coast?
Well, the playground as it's being built right now is a vacation from the cogs. It's, the coast is clear from the cogs over there.
Oh,
And
okay. Cool.
so thankfully, with the construction that the Toons have been working on, no cogs have infiltrated clear coasts. Now the Toon Resistance is constantly on the lookout to make sure that they don't uncover the secret playground that the Toons are building here. But nonetheless, the cogs know that the Toons are doing something, and that's where joint ventures have come from, is sort of in retaliation to these new things that Toons are building. So as for the role that cogs will play in Clear Coast, it's Toontown, and so we certainly expect that somewhere along the way, the cogs are going to run amok and cause some trouble there. But we don't have anything too specific to announce right now about it outside of the joint ventures.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
By the way, Joey, one more thing. I made something for you, but I don't know if I can.
Yeah, you can come up if you'd like.
Oh, okay. I'll try to be careful.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh, it says Sir Max and Joey. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Thank you. That's really sweet. I see that. Oh, yeah. Oh man, Sir Max, he is very afraid of the butterflies. That's very sweet. Thank you, Anya.
Hello. I'm Darth. My tune's name is Happy. My question is, a few years ago, you guys had some trolley games to show. That's where Spotlight Search and the Doodle one came from. I'm wondering what happened to the other projects, like there was a gardening, there was a red light, green light game.
Yeah, I guess, Tony, do you want to talk about these? And maybe John could speak to some as well.
Yeah, we've actually, during we were talking about our team trolley jam, things such as red light, green light was something we wanted to revisit and talk about. And something that we really discovered from these trolley jams is getting an interest of not only just what our players want, but what our team wants to work on. So there'll be things that maybe some of the other things you mentioned, just our team just doesn't have the bandwidth or interest to focus on. But other things like red light, green light, it's interesting to see when a couple people on the team are maybe we could develop this. And who knows, maybe in our next trolley jam, that could be something we focus more on.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, John, do you have anything you want?
This is before my time.
Yeah.
Good. My name is Rough and Ready in game, and this is from a question from my friend, Mr. Toon. So in Toontown Online, they added NPCs to the field offices in the cage if the building taken over doesn't have a shopkeeper. Those Toons have pun names based around being captured, such as imprisoned. They're the only NPCs who are in Toontown Online who are not currently in Toontown Written. So does the TTR team have any plans to add these Toons back into the game one way or another?
Well, I think they actually are in Toontown Rewritten, and some people may not realize it. They are the Toon Resistance Toons who talk to you in field offices now. So they've gone from being caged Toons in Toontown Online to members of the Toon Resistance who are here, helping us through the field offices. I think I'm correct on that. Was our intention with it, because we wanted to make sure we sort of paid homage to those SOS cards and didn't just erase those Toons from history. So yeah, next time you go in a field office, I don't think that their names display, but the appearances of them are the exact same as the ones that you see in those cages from Toontown Online.
Names display.
Oh, the name is displayed. Okay, yeah. It's been a while since we worked on that, sorry.
That's actually a really nice touch. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
But another thing is I want to shout out to my friends that couldn't come here, but shout out to Captain Domino, Saljo, and Binks, Coda. That's it.
Yeah, tell them to come next time.
Hello, my Toon name is Jake Cheesy Marvel. Is ToonFest canon?
Oh, ToonFest is canon, actually. That's a great question. So yeah, I could talk a lot about this. So this is something that actually I've talked to our team a bit about since sometimes the artists and stuff have asked me like, okay, how do we use the Toontown Rewritten logo? Like Toontown Rewritten's as a logo, like is that canon? Is it not? Here's the scoop. Toontown is a real place that you can visit in Anaheim, California. It's just outside of Disneyland. If you're familiar with the Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie, we're very much subscribed to that universe. And when you're here at ToonFest and meeting Flippy and Flunky, that is Flippy and Flunky, who have come from Toontown to visit all of us here. Now, what's not canon is Toontown isn't a game. It's in our story. It's a real place. And so when we see Flippy and Flunky here, they're coming to meet fans of Toontown the place rather than fans of Toontown the game. And so in our blog posts and stuff, where you'll see like characters like Sir Max or like Flippy talking about ToonFest, or even specifically ToonFest Orlando, that's all canon to the Toontown Rewritten story. It is true that like Toons and humans are, in this same universe where a lot of Toons are commuting to Hollywood, starring in movies. Mickey Mouse is like the biggest star of the cartoon characters. And
furthermore, we wanted to actually incorporate the art that we do at ToonFest into that. So if you'll notice, some of the in-game clothing that you can get from the codes that we got out at ToonFest, they actually have some of the trading cards in the pocket. And that is kind of why for ToonFest Columbus, we tied JMO into being the canonical author of those trading cards. So that way we could kind of, give an explanation as to, those also exist in Toontown from ToonFest.
Yeah. And later this weekend, you'll see some more art that actually pays a lot of homage to those types of things.
Yeah.
I really like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Anthony, and one of my questions is, I've always been on the radar with like the updates you guys been doing, so I've been like, always been checking it out and like just seeing any updates been doing. So my question is, so like with Toontown Remastered, where that was like an update you guys were working on a little while back, but it just ended up getting like put on the back burner for a little bit. Have there been any updates you guys have worked on that have been put on the back burner you're considering ever bringing back?
That's a really great question. Because like you mentioned, like Toontown Remastered, the new launcher, like those are things that we actually talked about at like the second ToonFest, like back in 2016, that are sort of just coming to fruition now because they did pause for a number of years. One of those projects that we also talked about back then that paused was translating the Tooniverse and bringing Toontown to different languages across the world and allowing people to speak to each other using the shared language of speed chat, where like if you speak English and someone else speaks Japanese, and maybe person speaking Japanese doesn't speak English, you don't speak Japanese, you could still have a conversation with each other through speed chat because you would see it in your language, they would see it in their language, and you'd get that sort of like real-time translation in that way. That's something we still absolutely want to do. It's something we talk about very frequently, is like, okay, when are we going to go back to that? And actually the new launcher is one of the things that we needed in order to go back to that, because having a new launcher gives us the ability to sort of manage these different versions of the game and these different translations of the game for if and when we pursue that in the future.
Can I talk about what you and I did for Trolley Jam?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, so another one that I think has been kind of like talked about throughout the many years that has never come to fruition is we've had the same loading screens since 2013, I think. And for the Trolley Jam, Joey and I actually co-directed a mini project to revamp the loading screens and make them like fun and animated and more engaging. And that's definitely something we also want to bring back if you guys would be interested in something like that.
Yeah, that was a fun one because we actually finished most of the art for it and have like it all sort of laid out. We have these like videos of like how, because it wasn't even just the loading screens, it was the pick-a-tune and the game entrance and everything. We worked on a lot of awesome stuff and we showed it to the tech team and they're like, oh my gosh, guys, like we're using Panda 3D. This game engine is from like the early 2000s. This is some crazy stuff you're trying to do here. And so we're going to keep working with them on that to make it come to fruition one day. But yeah, I guess, John, do you have any projects that you can think of that maybe we would want to revisit from past ToonFests or Trolley Jams? I'm putting you on the spot, so it's okay.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Every project that I've worked on has shipped, or isn't it, or it
Yeah,
will
John
be.
has the secret sauce.
So
Yeah.
I haven't actually yet worked on anything that has been shelved. I'm going to be honest with you.
Can you come work on our loading screens? All right, thanks for the question.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes, I will.
Hi, my name's Ronan. My team's name is Susan Pelfluff, and it's also Professor Barney. So here's my question: it's about the COG events, like how there's a Sellbot event and
Sellbot.
and Cashbot.
Mhm.
When are you guys gonna do like a Lawbot or a BossBot kind of way, like how you did with the let's find the BossBot HQ kind of thing?
Yeah, Tony?
That's my question.
I talk about it every day. I really do. Gosh, it's like I don't want to just like say everything I've like dreamed and wanted, but yeah, it's like it's on our minds every single day pretty much, and we're just trying to find the right time with just how much we're juggling to just see when it's right to like show it off and like get it ready for the community to get hyped for and be ready for it soon, hopefully.
And I have one more question. When are you guys gonna do like a revamp to Cartoonival? Like I guess like redo like the items, new items, adding new stuff, and revamping like the whole clouds and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
I knew mini games to get more tickets and all that such.
Yeah. Cartoonival is one of our favorite things to work on. And so we last did a big update for it in 2023 with the Cartoonival Cavalcade. And it's one of those things where, like, because it comes around every year, we try to only work on it, every couple of years so that we don't get distracted with it and then, not have focus on our other projects. So I would say, like, coming up in the not too distant future, we're sort of due for some new Cartoonival updates, and we'll be looking at that as part of the next update project.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for answering my question.
All right. Hi, my name's Judy. My question is regarding tunes. They tend to use our full Toon Council approved names every time we interact with them, especially if you don't have a Toon task and you go to like get a new one. I was wondering, maybe in like Clear Coast or maybe just in general, will they ever like give us like little nicknames or shorthand our names to just be like the first name?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I know one of my favorite things in the game Animal Crossing is like you can sort of get nicknames from the village characters around, and that would be really fun to have a feature like that in Toontown. I think that's a really awesome idea. We can definitely consider that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Daniel. I go by Football Toon in Toontown. But the question I had was, we have of course, the Preservation Project, which is an archive of past design documents and such. My question was, are we going to see something like that for past documents of past projects of TTR's projects?
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
think of like the election, most particularly probably because I just love that event. But I mean, like past, any other events too. So
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that I was talking about with someone earlier this week was like an art of Toontown written book. I thought that was you. So yeah, do you want to talk about what something like that might look like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't work on any in-game things, so I can't speak to that part. Maybe someone else can, but I would love to do an archive of all of the brand art we've ever made. Yes. Because honestly, sometimes even I forget what we have because there's so much of it at this point, and when it's just stuffed in a Google Drive, we're like, oh, right, what do we have in here? Like, I would love to set something up for the community where, like, sometimes like I'll get questions like, hey, have we ever had a loan shark drawn before? Has there ever been, a corporate raider drawn before? And I would love to just have a place where all of the art we've ever done is just in one place for people to find their favorite piece of art or look to see if we've done a certain thing before.
Yeah, it really is something we should expand the Toontown Preservation Project with, because the thing that still blows my mind is, Toontown Written has existed for a longer period of time than Toontown Online has. And yeah, I know, it's crazy. And so it's so mind-blowing to me when I have conversations with you all here at ToonFest, and people will talk about oh yeah, I loved growing up and seeing the Daily Alpha blog posts, or seeing the Doomsday event, or seeing the release of the first in-game ToonFest. And to think that people are nostalgic for stuff that we worked on is I can't even put it into words how crazy that is. And it's something, I think it's a really wonderful idea, and something that hopefully we can do in the future is go back and show more of those things that was worked on in the early days, so that we have it all archived into the future like we have for Toontown Online. Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
man.
you.
Hey there, my name is Ben. I'm actually here with my wife Ariane today, and our close friend Jada, or Eno Kitty. They're both there in the front. So you stand, say hi.
Hi.
No, but me and Ariane actually got engaged at ToonFest in Oklahoma. So
I
now we're
remember.
married.
And so now you're married? You had your wedding?
We're married.
Congrats.
Our first anniversary is actually next month, September
Oh,
20th. So.
that's really sweet. Congrats, guys.
Thank you. But no, so what my question is, I really just want to know from you guys, what is it specifically about this community that you think enables or fosters bonds that really last a lifetime? I just want to hear your
That's a
take
really
on
thoughtful question.
Yeah.
Tony, do you want to start? We'll go down the line.
I want to start with John, because John's been
Yeah.
a part of the community for a really long time.
Yeah, so
I'm not saying you're old.
So I might have been playing Toontown since 2005. It's actually kind of interesting sort of viewing it as now a 26-year-old, because if you think Toontown has basically been a part of my life for basically almost as long as I could really interpret the world, and stepping up going from a child who was just curious because I saw a commercial on TV, to then going towards sort of some of the first folks who I felt were true friends who I met through Toontown Online, that we then reconnected with on TTR, only because of the fact that TTR could exist, was kind of a very empowering moment, because it sort of proved that the bonds, or the power of the game to create these bonds, meant that there was a very strong emotional connection, to the point where there was that strong desire to even bring the game back. And I mean, I know there's something to be said about the game itself was just a very special game that was very fun and very enjoyable. But I do think that the reason a lot of us keep coming back to it, throughout the years, and playing it 10 years, 20 years on, is because of the fact that the folks that we've met, that we still talk to, and the folks that we've grown up with, we've watched the game grow, we've watched ourselves grow, and our friends grow. It's very powerful, and it's sort of, it's hard to necessarily put it into words that make sense, because it very much is a very emotional thing. But I think that also when Toontown Online shut down and TTR was just coming up, and we had a very tight-knit community, we almost felt as though we could all be friends with everybody, because the community was so small. And even as the community has grown and ToonFest has grown, we see familiar faces, we meet new people, but at the same time, it's almost as if we feel like we've always known each other in some ways, just because of how tight-knit the community still kind of is. It's very personal in a way, and very cozy, if that makes sense.
It is. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
That was much more eloquent than anything I'm going to say. Yeah, so I think for me, it's the accessibility of it, of anybody can play it, anybody can understand it at whatever level of difficulty or whatever that they're happy to play at. And I think for me, my other work that I do during the day is I work in voiceover and casting for video games, but it is often on games that are really high action or like stuff that I can't play because I can't do fast movements or flashing lights. So Toontown is a place that everybody can feel comfortable, and that's something that we take into account when we're developing stuff, right? Of like color blindness. Is this going to be motion sick for something like the dance floor? We changed how the camera movement worked to try not to make it so crazy because it was a little bit crazy at the beginning. And I think if we look around the room, there's a lot of us that grew up with it. There's a lot of us that are still playing it for that reason, because we don't have to be all, doing all these crazy action games that are just too much sometimes, especially when the world is already a little bit crazy all the time and everything is so chaotic and loud. It's nice to just have like a quiet, I just hang out with my friends, we work together. It's just, it's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And I like the thing that stands out to me is there's so many amazing, kind, just excellent people in this room and outside of this room online that are part of the Toontown community. And I think that doesn't really happen by accident. I think that I really have to give props to the original developers who designed this game to be unlike anything that's out there even still today. It's a game that fosters friendships in ways that like you don't even necessarily realize as you're playing it. There's so many great designs that they made where like obviously the game encourages so much teamwork, but it also gives room for social conversations. I've talked about in the past like the moments of stillness you have in an elevator where you're waiting to go to the next cog battle and you have nothing to do except chat with friends, and like the only like that elevator isn't a loading screen. It has no reason to exist other than just giving you a moment to pause, to kind of step out of the battle and to chat with people who you may not have known that you went into that building with. And there's moments like that. And then even there's competitive things in Toontown, but the competitive things are so low stakes, right? Like you don't, maybe some people in this room do, but you don't really get mad at someone for winning a trolley game against you, right? Like it's, but it's this very just like fun, easygoing, a place that you can have fun with your existing friends, a place you can make new friends. And it's all been designed in such an amazing way that now like you all have brought new life to in the way that the community has continued over the years.
Yeah, for me, I think it's mostly because I got into Toontown, I played Toontown online when I was a child, but I got into Toontown Rewritten later than I think most people did. But Toontown was the first place I ever really felt like I fit in. Growing up, I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends, and I felt like it was really hard for me to make connections in person with other people. And I thought that's all there was, making connections face to face. And when I learned about Toontown and I started making friends through Toontown, something really clicked in me that I was like, this is the place I'm meant to be. This is the people that I fit in with. These are the people that get me, who understand me. And when I get to come to ToonFest, my favorite thing is to hear your guys' stories about meeting your friends here for the first time in person. Like I get emotional talking about it because like how powerful is that? How cool is that we can make friends in a game from 2003 and meet them here at ToonFest in 2025 for the first time. And those friendships will last for the rest of our lives, probably. I mean, marriages too. Yeah. Like it's so powerful and cool.
I'll try and keep mine succinct, but as someone who played the game just for a little bit, I was more of like a Pirates of the Caribbean online fan.
Oh, yeah!
But something that I just really love about Toontown that just proved how special it really is that I stepped away from the community for such a long time and only got back into it quite literally like months before I joined the team back in like 2022. And just the amount of openness that this community has, like again, you could be gone for so long and you come back and people are just like, so good to see you. Yeah. They're so welcoming. They want you to be part of everything. You don't feel like you're ever gonna miss out because people are always there to be there with open arms. And with the team too, they just been like, everyone's just so trustworthy and everyone's just so happy to work with you. And just someone like in the creative industry, it could be hard at times, like finding a place to give your creative input and be trusted and be able to collaborate. And Toontown is just something that was just able to take me with open arms and able just to put my passion into it. And for that, I'm really grateful for.
Thank you so much for that question.
Thank you guys.
Too short for this. Hey guys, I'm Mary, aka Pepperoni Pizza. You guys have made a lot of good changes to cog battles to make longer fights more fun, especially how the boss battles and seat leveling works. Huge improvement there. Thank you all guys. Have you ever considered tweaking the boss fights beyond the turn-based segments like the scale round and CJ?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Not to promise anything, but going back to the talks about like, team members have been interested in like lockdown lawbot. Something we want to go forward with is like seeing like how can we like bring in quality of life features with updates and try and like get them themed like thematically, just to make sure like when we update something, everything that it impacts is also improved as well. Like for example, I know like shortly after I think the Cellbot task force came out, there was just like a sudden urge to like fix the CEO and make it more engaging. And hopefully if we do something like that again with the CJ, we'd be able to pair it with like more content as well.
Nice. Also, shout out to my friend Cosmo, aka Big Bongo.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ryan. My Toon name is Captain Pancake Super What's It? And my question is, out of all the like projects and updates you've done for the game, whether it's like Storm Cellbot, Crash Cashbot, or even like the elections, or most recently like the like new management, field office, whatever, which one of those projects are you like the most proud of? And which one made you want to throw a computer out the window?
Maybe, John, you want to start with this one?
So in terms of probably the some of the most fulfilling work, I did various work on under new management, but that was also the most major update that I've worked on TTR up to this point. That one was just exciting just because there are certain like little tweaks and little features that were made to UNM that I partially worked on, that were some folks in the community were saying that they were asking for like years, or since TTO and stuff like that, like the ability to change your cog disguise. People have been asking to be able to customize that forever, and it was just one of those things where it's like, how do you do it right? And then we finally cracked it, and then people were very happy to have that, which was great to see, because it was just one of those things where it's like it's very fun to just be able to choose to be a corporate raider all the time. I actually just prefer to be a micromanager all the time, to be honest with you, because it's funny. But honestly, the tasks that makes me want to throw my computer out the window, to be honest with you, it's not game related, but it's honestly ToonFest related. No, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I very thoroughly enjoy working on ToonFest, and I will continue to do for as long as I am able to. But there are some tech challenges that we cannot always test ahead of time, and we have to do it here when the stakes are very high. And of course, when the stakes are high, nothing works. So of course, in the moment when the pressure is very high, at that point, I'm just like, I would just like to throw all these laptops in the fish bingo pool.
Yeah, John, can I ask you, how late was our tech team up last night trying to get these laptops working for the fans?
Joey, I'm glad you've asked that question. So for transparency, our wonderful tech team, so if you see anyone on the tech team at the booth, let them know that you appreciate their sacrifices, as we were up until 4 a.m. fixing the laptops. And for transparency, we also then woke up at 7:30 to get to the booth to make sure all the laptops were set up by the time the booth opened, myself included. Yeah. So,
and he's still here on the Q&A panel.
I'm still here. But overall, most of the time, Toontown Written is the project where every project I work on, I'm usually not frustrated, because this is my fun project, because I also do game development as my full-time job. That's where it's, this is the fun project.
Anyone else have an answer for most proud or most frustrating projects?
I guess I'm gonna say obviously I think my most proudest was just under new management, just being able to, like, someone who had like a background in film, just being able to like work on cinematics, which was kind of like not new to Toontown, but something not really more streamlined, like with the cutscenes with the supervisors and working on like I guess in moment like trailers at like ToonFest to get like the community excited was like some of my favorite moments. But ironically enough, under new management was also that project that made me want to like throw things out windows, especially computers, because there's been many times where we're like pushing the limits of Toontown. And I remember we'll be like doing workshops for 12 plus hours with programmers, and we'll be like, okay, can we do this? And they'll be like, that's impossible to do in this engine. And I'm just like, what are we doing? But it's just fun trying to get those solutions to happen.
Yeah.
Everything is impossible until it's suddenly possible.
Yeah.
At 4 a.m.
I was just gonna say, I'll be quick, that my most fulfilling is ToonFest. That's the main project I work on, and above being a lead or anything else on Toontown, my absolute favorite thing to do is art direct ToonFest. But most frustrating was probably when I got to co-direct with Joey to do the new loading screen. The trolley jam that we did. And I don't work on in-game art ever. I only do brand art. So, I would spend several hours creating this like beautiful mock-up of what I thought these cool loading screens or like pick a tune could look like. And then I would send it off for feedback and they would be like, hi, we can't do any of this. And I would be like, cool, I'll go throw it in the trash then.
Yeah. Very quickly, I'll say, obviously, Selvbot Task Force is one of the things I'm most proud of, but I think the underrated one, in my opinion, is the Cartoonable Cavalcade. I was really proud of working on that project.
Yes.
That came together in a very short amount of time. It was something like, so we did the poster actually for ToonFest 2023 that had this parade float that I had pitched to the ToonFest team, and the secret of like a lot of the things that I pitched to the ToonFest team to ask if we can have art for is really concept art for future things that I want to see in game. And so we worked really quickly to try and bring that online in time for Cartoonable that year. It was super fun. Frustrating is I'm going to go way back to early TTR days. A lot of people may not even remember that like we had to reverse engineer this game to bring it back online, right? Like the cogs weren't there in the first version of Toontown rewritten. Toon parties weren't there. And so there were a lot of really frustrating things around. In particular, Toon parties were a nightmare to try and get together for some reason. Like, it was, I think, one of the first things we worked on that really had sort of like player-hosted dynamic zones and everything. Few people even use Toon parties these days, so was the sacrifice worth it? I don't know. And oh my gosh, mini golf. Trying to get the mini golf physics working was a nightmare. It still is. Yeah. So yeah, there like I even though working in such an old game engine continues to give us new challenges, like at least it's our code that we get to write now, and it's not trying to piece together stuff that other people have written, because that was really difficult in those early days. Thanks for the question.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Zeku. I was just gonna ask, do y'all ever have plans to do like estate watering, like ordering a rainstorm in your catalog? So instead of having to, so you still have to be like actively taking care of your garden, but you don't have to cry about having to water like 100 dead plants.
Writing that down. We've definitely experimented with that, and it's something that like our next update initiative has been like experimenting with. And I think our team just likes to, with like even like talking about the trolley jams, something we are interested in doing is when we do these game jams like once a year, we see like which ones are like really feasible. One of them was actually that we game jammed was like some kind of like weather system, like with gardening even, to like water all the plants. And hopefully what we plan on doing is like after every like push of updates, under next update, we're hoping to like grab a couple ones of these game jams to like bundle in when we push out. So hopefully we could do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, great idea.
Hi guys, my name is Lynn, or Princess Lemon Melon. I'm here with my partner from Canada, and just wanted to ask. Flippy's been president of the Toon Council for, I believe, 11 years. When's the next presidential election?
That's a great question, isn't it? So, Flippy actually stepped in as interim president of the Toon Council, because if you remember, Slappy was actually the one who won. He unfortunately was quickly removed from office by a cog. And so Flippy has been filling in until such a time that we can try to save Slappy wherever he may be. And so the Toon Council presidential elections are sort of on hold until the Toon Resistance alongside the Toon Council with Flippy figure out how to get Slappy back. Yeah, and then we can expect to see maybe another Toon Council presidential election.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Midnight the Yellow Pig, or Nebula. In Toontown, we have quite literally been fighting against corporations, something many of us grew up with. Even executives were against this idea during development. What kind of lessons do you guys feel Toontown has taught you as you entered the workforce?
Oh, that's a really good question. The most ironic thing to me is, I work for a company right now where my CEO is the person who created the cogs, Jesse Shell. So I work for the guy who, in essence, made the CEO and trained me to try to fight against him. No, but for me, I've been very lucky that I love working at Shell Games. It is such a great place. Jesse has done a great job of taking the lessons from Toontown and not being a cog himself and not having cogs that we work with there. But I do think just a general lesson that I've learned is that, I work in game development, which is a naturally, for me, a fun industry to work in. But even in jobs that I've done outside of that, I always try to find the fun in it. And I think that's something that I really learned from Toontown, is that even in the most tedious and menial of tasks, there's often some fun that you can find, especially when you're doing it with someone else or have a coworker or a friend there that you can just sort of create your own sort of games and how you do your work, or have your own just things that you do throughout the day to get through the work day and make sure that you're still enjoying and being fulfilled along the way. But anyone else have thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I currently work for Disney. And Joey kind of stole my answer because no, it's okay. My answer was going to be, I think, going into working at Disney, which I started with the company in February, was just don't take life too seriously, I guess. I always thought you had to have a job that was you work 9 to 5 and you sit at a desk and you're a cog all day. But I have found so much fulfillment in, getting to do things that make magic for other people. And I think that Toontown is a great example of, obviously it was made by Disney, so I think Toontown is a great example of finding the little things in life that can change lives that you don't necessarily think about in the average day-to-day job.
Yeah. I think, just you saying that, sort of, I'm just piecing it together now that all of us up here are working in industries that we just find fun to do, right? In game development, in working with Disney. And I think maybe almost subconsciously, maybe for some of us it was intentionally, I think Toontown taught us that you can have fun at work, right? You don't have to settle for that desk job. There can be ways to find fun even in a thing that we don't always want to do.
Yeah, I think to build off that, I think seeing Toontown, it's always Toons versus cogs. It's the super chaotic, unemployed life versus the super boring work life. And I think to take it away, it's not the work versus play. It's how can you find the best of both worlds for a happy medium?
Yeah, I think for me, my day job is also in production. So it's a little bit of I do the thing for, money, hopefully. And then I do it for fun. But the thing that I've found is especially in voiceover, you're going to have actors who they get sick, they can't make deadlines, things come up, we had somebody who just didn't have power and couldn't direct remotely one day, you know? So it's just like giving people grace. And I think that that's kind of like what Tony was talking about earlier about like, if you go away for a while and you come back, everyone's still excited to see you. You're still going to get everything done. Like, we don't need to panic about every little thing, which is very easy to do. So I think it's a little bit of just relying on other people and trusting them and feeling like everything is going to be okay, even if in the moment it's like terrifying, but it's all good.
One thing about Toontown that I think about often is that it's interesting because the way I view cogs now that I'm an adult in the working world, as cogs can be a necessary evil, even if they'll think they're helping you, even if they don't exactly have your best interests in mind, but they can be a necessary evil because they think they're helping you. It's like they aren't trying to be an enemy per se. They think they're helping.
Yeah. Thank you. It was a great question. We do have about 30 minutes left in this panel, so we'll try to get through as many questions as we possibly can.
Hi, my name is Chloe, or Burger with Excessive Ketchup in game, amongst many other very stupid names. I was wondering, is the deer and the crocodile a one-off thing, or can we ever expect more Toon species in the future?
I mean, short answer, I would say expect more Toon species. It's one of the things we worked on for the Trolley Game Jam. We had I won't say which species it is, but we had a team for that game jam in a month's time create a two fully working Toon species, like in the Toontown written style, that, aren't ready for release per se, but far more than just a proof of concept. They have a fully modeled head. They have some sounds that they developed for it. It went from concept to something that we could see in game and talk about and see how it looks and feels in a very short amount of time. Now, I don't want to say that means that, it only takes a month to create a Toon species. No, it still takes the better part of a year to fully finish it, because we care so much about making sure that it perfectly matches that original quality of Toontown. But yes, the Toon species are something that you will absolutely see more of in the future.
Lastly, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the work that you do, completely volunteer, completely nonprofit. Thank you for keeping our favorite game alive.
Thank you. That's really nice of you.
Hi there, my name is Faith and my Toon name is Cupcake. My question was, do you have any plans to address any of the unanswered lore questions, like the chairman, what exactly happened to Slappy, more about Surly creating the cogs, etc.?
That is a great question. Let's see, which ones can I answer now? The chairman is still being sort of tracked down by the Toon resistance. Similarly, I guess, Lord Loud and Clear is working his way up the ranks of Cogs Inc., right? He's deeply undercover, trying to figure out how to infiltrate things like the Executive Office Tower, things like this elusive Cog Nation, and
what you see in the trading card. The
Yes.
Lord Loud and Clear trading card that we just released, he's kind of talking to all of the cog bosses there.
Yeah, if you look at that trading card or even read the back of it, we've released a couple new lore details about Lord Loud and Clear and how he's working up the ranks of the cogs. And so, yes, we do plan to learn more about that, right? It's as the story of Toontown Written moves on. And I would say when the time comes that Lord Loud and Clear does infiltrate, say, the Executive Office Tower, we're hoping that we'll learn more about Slappy. We're hoping that we'll learn more about this chairman figure and all sorts of other unanswered secrets. Dr. Surly as well would certainly be a big part of that initiative.
As a fun little fun fact, we often do at ToonFest what we call Joey lore sessions or Joey lore dumps, where we all kind of just gather around Joey and ask all of our lore questions, and he just kind of does his thing.
Yeah, and then I swear, all of them are sworn to secrecy. A lot of the Toontown Written team knows where we're going and knows the true answers to these things. But if they ever spill it, then they would be sent to Cognation. So.
Well, thank you so much. Lore is my favorite part, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello. My name is Jason, otherwise known as Deputy Skids. Hold your applause. My question was partially answered earlier, but I was wondering, with the previous concept art of cogs, had there any in the past been any discussions about creating a new line of cogs or bringing in new cogs or just anything like that in the future?
Yeah, like a new cog department more than just like new individual cogs. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, something we've definitely toyed around with, and we even alluded to when Under New Management came out. If you look at the blog post with the chairman talking about like the cogs, that there was actually, I wouldn't say a new department, but we've been hinted about this like board of directors pretty much, and like how the supervisors are a part of that board. And so it's not really a new department per se, but there's definitely some higher ups that we've still yet to meet.
I don't remember what it's called, but like their name is on
Hedge fund manager.
The hedge fund manager, yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely lots of cogs out there that we've yet to meet, in Cog Nation and these other areas. And I imagine as the story of Toontown continues, we are certainly going to meet those cogs.
Thank you, guys, and thank you to the great community we have.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Professor Rainbow. I teach at Toontown Central University. And I have so many doodles. I have dozens of doodles. They're crawling all over my estate. And I just need to know, is there somewhere else I can put them? Because they're becoming a bit much to manage. Can we create like a doodle park? Similar to like Acorn Acres.
That's a much better idea than I was of sending them back to the pet shop.
Yeah, not that. Or even if we could just bring them to the playground with us, I think that'd be super cute. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think you've piqued Tony's interest as we're talking about next update and doodles and different ways we could improve them. Yeah, I think Doodle Park is an amazing idea and would love to bring doodles around more frequently outside of Toon Estates.
Yeah. I will say for the trolley game jam, myself and Chloe worked on something like this where we were like, doodles follow you around. You're just trying to garden. Like, go away. There's too many of you. And so we talked about maybe, and none of this is like set in stone. It's not even prototyped yet. But we talked about maybe like a little doodle dog run kind of situation where you can go play over there and the doodles will go play or something. Yeah. We were told, and I don't know how like intense this actually is, but in theory, if everybody brought a doodle to the playgrounds, then the game might crash. Yeah. So we don't know. We gotta like figure out some details about how this might work. But we have thought about it very recently. So
yeah, I don't know like how many of you have played Pokemon before, but like how hype was it in like Heart Gold and Soul Silver when you could start bringing your Pokemon around with you? Yeah, like now that you've said that, like that came to my mind, and I was like that changed Pokemon forever.
Yeah.
So like.
And if we have John work on it, it'll definitely show. So,
believe me, I'm always thinking about pet improvements, and like the programming team's always thinking about doodle improvements just in general, both and in the estate and out of the estate, because there's a lot of untapped potential with pets, and there's a lot that you can do with it. That you can go very far, but we also have to be pretty grounded with what we do. But I do like the idea. I love the idea of having your pet follow you as a companion outside the estate. But there is a lot of technical considerations that need to be made for that, because doodles, believe it or not, are very technically complex. You wouldn't think so, but they very much are.
Yeah. But thank you for that question and lots of great ideas there.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is James, aka Swift Jim Manatee. I've been active in the community since 2014 with like the actual Toontown community and like the larger part, but I've been playing the game since like 2006. This game is great. I love what you guys do. I love that you guys were able to bring back our childhood. I'm actually visiting with a bunch of friends of mine from the game as well, so that's really awesome. My wife Trinity's over there as well. Her name is Light Pirate. She's going to be a part of the cosplay contest, so that's really awesome. I think all the additions are amazing. I think what you guys have done is really cool. You're adding a new playground, you add a new task. I remember when we all thought, 130, 7 is gonna be always like the maximum, But that begs the question: when are we going to get level 8 gags?
Level 8 gags. Well, as a lot of you heard yesterday at our main panel, there are new gags coming to Clear Coast. We haven't, I guess we're very excited for that. we haven't announced exactly what those gags are yet, right? But we have explored all possibilities. We've explored, like, are we doing a new gag track? Are we doing level 8 gags? Are we doing something entirely new? Is it something more like remote controls, or is it something more traditional? Literally every possibility of what we could add to Toontown battles, practically everything you could possibly think of, we have talked about, experimented with, and done lots of research to try and see how do we add something new to Toontown's combat system while respecting what's there, while making sure we aren't adding too much complexity and like all these great things that we talked about with why we love Toontown. We take a lot of care in making sure that adding to battles doesn't affect people's ability to enjoy the game that they grew up with, right? And that's all to say that that's sort of why we haven't announced exactly what those gags are for Clear Coast yet, because we want to make sure we get it perfect before we tell you guys what it is. I think we're very close to that. And I would say hopefully next ToonFest or sometime before then, you'll hear more about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to Crispy. Shout out to Craig, Zane Carrick. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pagario, and this is actually my first ToonFest with my girlfriend, Ray Gumi-chan. Hi, Ray.
Welcome. Congrats on the first ToonFest. Glad that you're here.
I wanted to ask, have there been any thoughts of a mobile port for Toontown Rewritten?
Oh, yeah. John, you want to talk about mobile port?
Extensively. It is an idea that is it is always constantly, or not constantly discussed, but every so often the topic comes up. There are many technical hurdles on both the mobile app marketplace route, also the game engine itself. Like I said, Panda 3D is quite an old game engine with very limited mobile support. Now there have been previous Panda 3D apps that have been ported to mobile that have had varying levels of success, but there's a lot of challenges that come with that. Also, when you have a game that it was designed exclusively for keyboard and mouse, there's a lot of design choices and a lot of design considerations that you have to make in order for the experience to be as good on mobile as PC and not hinder the experience for either side, because they'd be playing together theoretically, and you want to make sure that both sides, mobile and PC, are basically, equal in terms of player experience, and that is very challenging. But this is something that we think about a lot on the technical side, because theoretically it is possible, but there are many variables that sort of make it not like simple.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've noticed is, like, that sort of surprised us, is Toontown has found a new life through the Steam Deck. Lots of people play Toontown on Steam Deck, more so than we expected. And that's something that we've noticed and have talked about, like, how do we make that experience better? How does that tie into a potential mobile experience? Like, Toontown on the go is something that we know people want to do. And part of the things that we explore as we look at this top priority of, like, bringing Toontown to a new generation is, like we talked about yesterday, putting Toontown on things.itch.io and, like, places that they can discover it more easily. And that, like, mobile could be a big part of that. You could imagine a whole new generation of fans finding it just if it were available on a mobile device. So it's something, it's very difficult to do, but something we do want to do.
All right, thank you so much.
Hi. I love your flunky there.
Thank you. My name is Aiden, and my Toon's name is Dogio. I was wondering when Coastal Clear Coast would open up.
Oh, that's a really great question, Aiden. So Lindsay and I have been directing that project for a while now and working really hard to make it available. Can I ask, have you gotten to play it at our booth yet, the playtest? So I would love to hear your thoughts about it later. After this panel, you should head to our booth, and we have some tables set up where you can play the early version of Clear Coast and run around that playground. I would really love to talk to you about what you think of it and what you think we can do better for it, so that when we finally release it, it's the best version of it that it can be. In terms of when that will be, we don't really have an exact timeline for it. It's definitely not this year. However, we will keep working as hard as we possibly can and share updates along the way. Some of the big things that we have left to do for that is finishing up the street design for that playground. We have the prototype of the playground itself. We still need to create some streets for it and finish those so that we can sort of place all the different shopkeepers, add Toon tasks, figure out like what's going on with the cogs. Are they actually going to stay away from clear coasts? And those are some of the biggest things left to work on for it. But in general, I would say like we're maybe around like the 3/4 part of that project in terms of how far along it is towards completion. And we're going to work as quickly as possible so that you can play it very soon. Thank you. It's a great question.
Hi, I'm Addie Batty or Queen Rosie on Toontown, and I was wondering if there's any updates on the Save Slappy situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're always on the lookout for Slappy. The Toon resistance has been, like I mentioned earlier with Lord Loudclair, he's deeply undercover, and one of the big questions he's trying to figure out is, where is Slappy? Because we know from Dr. Shirley and all of his time travel and whatnot that Slappy is still out there somewhere, and that the cogs have him held somewhere. We just aren't sure where and how to get to him. And so it's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries of Toontown Rewritten, right? It's been going on for a long time. And I would say that while the Toon resistance isn't nearing an answer in anytime too soon, it would be one of the next big initiatives that we work on after some of our big projects wrap up that we've talked about this weekend, is figuring out where Slappy is.
I thought he was a keychain or something.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, you can get one in his memory, I guess, through Gags and Gears for good. Yeah, but great question, thank you.
Also, I have one more thing. Would love to see a Toontown Rewritten like trading card binder as an idea.
Oh yeah. Actually, if you stop by our, or I guess you mean like an actual themed trading card binder, that would be really cool. That would be cool. We'll have to write that down, Ellie, for next year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe you all know my name, the Factory Foreman. Getting all you pesky tunes away from my factory. Yes, everything seems to be running like clockwork. Excellent, excellent.
Did anyone happen to bring gags with you? Did anyone have it fully stocked?
Are we gonna do some here?
Yeah. Oh. Oh, I see some dynamite.
Yeah.
Silence tunes.
All right, Factory Foreman, do you have a question for us, or do you just need to kind of get out of here?
Yes, my question is for the COGS schedule. All of the hard-working Silbots here. I must inquire, when are we going to get our iconic purple suits back?
Ooh.
What?
The iconic purple suits for Cellbots. Factory Foreman demands that they get them back.
Well, sir, first off, I'm a big fan.
Hang on, Tony. What are you doing to us here?
I'm sorry. Well, we thought about it. No, but seriously, like, I think one of the first things we were doing when we designed, I think it was even shown off in one of our backstage panels a year or two back, but we were tailoring some purple suits for the Foreman, but I think we held it off for a future like push whenever we got around to remastering the Cellbot section. So I hope that meets your quotas.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I would submit a formal request to the Cellbot Vice President to allocate the budget towards remastering Cellbot headquarters.
Watch these jokes, too. You've seen what these Cellbots can do.
All right. Thank you, Factory Foreman.
Enough questions. Back to work. All of you.
And the factory foreman is right. We have about 10 minutes left on this panel, so we'll try and speed around these questions to get through as much as we can.
My name is Mr. Alvin McSpeed. Okay. I run with weekly boss runs with all the partner servers. And I noticed when I'm going through the mints, you added the crane game. But during Lawbot and BossBot, there's nothing to teach new tunes how to do stunning for lawyers or knowing how far to shoot. Would you be able to add anything like the cog dummies to teach how to stun lawyers, or like a break the target for BossBot?
Yeah, it was something we were planning because it's great to train people on like what to expect. It just due to time restraints, we couldn't do it. But I mean, hopefully, maybe with something like next update, we can revisit that for sure.
And thank you for running those weekly boss runs, because it's such a big part of what keeps the Toontown community alive, are people like you who are running these community events for everyone. So thank you for that.
Hi, my name's Alyssa. My Toon names are Senpai and Kohai. My question is, last year there was an insinuation with the new playground, Clear Coast, there would also be laugh added. And I know the minimal playground laugh is 10, and then max is 15. The max Unite for tune-up is 80, and a 3-star boiler with afterburn does, I believe, 82 or 84. And if you're at 1 laugh, you're gonna have to have 2 people unite. My real question with all this is, will max tune-up be re-implicated with the new Clear Coast, possibly, since it would be a little more assistive for the laugh boosts?
Yeah, Lindsay, do you want to address this? Okay, I mean, I would say essentially, I won't give a definite yes, but I'll say whenever we add new content, expand the laugh limit and everything, we don't just look at the content that we're creating right now, but we look back at all of the game content to make sure it's rebalanced and matches the new things that we added, like for under new management when we did the gag rebalancing and whatnot. So like I said, it's not a definite yes, but I would say those types of questions are absolutely the things that we're considering as we design the expansion of Clear Coast. Yeah, thank you.
RIP Max Tune-Up, thank you.
Hi, my name is Danny. My Toon name is Super Bubbles Boing and Boing. And my question is if joint venture buildings will count for tasks that require a single building type?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, we have talked about that where in theory, if you need, 5 Cellbot buildings and you happen to see a joint venture, that it would register as both types. And versus, if it's go find joint ventures, it might be quite hard to say, oh, it has to be a BossBot Lawbot. So we're, still thinking like that might be too hard to require. So it might be any joint venture building, but it might take some testing to like really determine what is too much.
Yeah, it's likely going to end up being, if a task says defeat a Cellbot building, then any Cellbot joint venture would count for that. If it says defeat a Cellbot joint venture, then any combination of Cellbot and another cog would count for that for joint ventures only, but the regular Cellbot buildings wouldn't count for that. So that's kind of our current thinking with the tasks there, but something we're definitely going to be continuing to balance and figure out the right way to do as we develop the tasks for Clear Coast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Summer. This question might have been answered earlier. I wasn't paying attention. My bad.
No worries.
Is there? So it's my question, my little sister's question. But is there gonna be like an event for Lawbot and BossBot, like there was Crash Cashbot, and then now the Cellbot field offices?
Yeah, that's a great question, and to answer it shortly, it's something constantly like on our minds, mine especially, and we're hoping for sure that one day soon we'd be able to get around to those. And the dream is to have them like cycle in and out, just so like we don't have to put a lot of effort into it, but there's always going to be like new content, just like Cartoonable.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then one more thing, it's not a question, but if any of y'all see Toons running around with Gregory above their head, that's me and my friends. It's a not long story, but basically it was, they were in some factory or whatever. Someone said glue to try and do the lure, didn't work. or well, they would try putting glue but put Greg instead. That started working. And then when me and my friends were doing the factory, we put Greg and it didn't work. So my friend was like, "Oh, let's formally like say his name." So we put Gregory. Started working. So anytime we're in a battle, we say Gregory and it works. So if you see that, it's us.
New Toontown urban legend dropping in here that if you say Gregory, lure will always work. Is that?
Not always. Sometimes
Okay,
he'll
not
let you
always,
down.
but it does increase your odds.
Sometimes he lets you down, but most of the time it works. So, but if you see Gregory, that's us.
All right. Thank you for that.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and my question that I've been wondering for a few years is why the district names were changed, because I personally really miss Toon Valley and Vibrant Valley and Toontown Central and the community there.
Yeah. So we changed the district names, I think, as part of the version 2.0 update. And part of it was sort of balancing, making sure that our district names were easy to remember. We were noticing that a lot of players were having trouble remembering things like, I think one of them was like Pianissimo Plains. And So there were some that were quite difficult, not only to remember, but to spell as well. And so we wanted to make sure, like, we kind of looked at it the lens of like, Toontown is a game for all ages. So someone with a sort of like first grade reading level, like what are some district names that they would still be able to read too? And that's where we got the new ones that came out, things like Kaboom Cliffs and like all of the different ones that are more themed around sound effects and such. And alongside that, since we were revisiting it, we wanted to make them a bit more thematically consistent and capture the zaniness of Toontown. It didn't always make a whole lot of sense to have Toontown districts named after like artwork or music. And so we wanted something that better captured like what does the day-to-day Toon life look like, and what would they name these districts if Toontown were indeed a real place. And that's how we landed on that. But we know that people are very nostalgic for the old ones. I'm even nostalgic for the old ones. And so, I think we often look with our creative writing for ways to pay homage to things like that from the past. And I think you just saying this is going to have me kind of thinking in the back of my mind, like, what are some ways that we could pay homage to those old district names in some of the writing that we do?
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jonathan. Once again, I'm back. I'm still Sparkleface. When I was playing the game, I noticed there's no 4-stock SOS restock cards. When are they going to be added into the game?
Well, we don't really have an exact answer for that right now. We don't have current plans to add those. However, never say never. As we add new COG content and stuff, there's always possibility of new SOS cards. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Vanku, and I'm here to ask the question of, due to the talk of there being about finding Slappy and all the Toon presidential during the Alpha era, I wanted to ask you something personally, Joey. I was wondering, what was your fondest memories of that Toontown Alpha era, along with Sir Max's pleasant memories of that era as well?
Really great question. I think one of the things that I remember is actually watching Jesse Shell enter Toontown Written for the first time. We had given him an alpha code just over email. We reached out to him, and of course, myself and our other tech people were like looking at our account database. It's like, okay, he registered an account, and then okay, he's logging in, and like, and we were sort of like in Toontown Central, like invisible, stalking him a little bit. And like I remember him like typing in the chat, like he was just like I think he said wow, and like everything is the same. Like I don't think he realized at that time, 2013, like this is probably December 2013, shortly after we launched, that this wasn't a recreation of Toontown. We had actually brought back the original game, and I remember that moment very fondly. I also remember, of course, the Toon Council presidential elections. I remember coming home from school and scrambling to write blog posts every single day for the Daily Alpha blog posts. And I remember a lot of just great people that I worked with on the team, some of which are still working on Toontown Written today. Yes, major shout out to all of them. Yeah, it was just, I look back on that time with so many fond memories, and thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Riley. My Toon name is Blueberry. Joey, I'm sorry for T-posing on you on the way to the con.
It's okay.
Or on the way to the,
No,
on
I
the way to the
appreciated
panel.
it, actually.
My question is Dr. Surly getting therapy?
Oh.
I really need to know. I'm about to start making like a Dr. Surly protection squad.
Yeah, no, I think that's he kind of needs some, for sure.
Yeah.
I know it's not quite therapy. He was visiting Dr. Pull Your Leg for a little bit. I think that made things worse. So, no, but the Fishingtons, I think, really helped Dr. Surly work through a lot of the guilt that he had been feeling in creating the cogs, and they were really essential to kind of getting him into a better mental space. These days, you do see Dr. Shirley crack a smile every once in a while, and so I think he's really come around.
In the Plush blog post, actually, initially he was done with a smile, and there was some concern, like, should we? Would he be smiling? And we were like, no, he's getting better. He can smile a little bit.
Yeah. Thanks for looking out for his well-being.
No problem. And thank you for all that you've done.
I think we're gonna do a lightning round of just like one-word answers and go through very quickly. Sorry. We'll answer more questions at the booth later. We'll do this question and then, yeah.
All right, hi, my name is Maddie. My Toon in game is called Maddie as well. The question that I have is, I'm gonna say it out. Something that isn't brought up much but affects a lot of live service games is the concept of fear of missing out, aka FOMO. I know when it comes to in-game items, like some of them are like non-exclusive ones. During the last ToonFest, previous non-exclusive versions of ToonFest items were available through the elusive Willy the Wanderer, who was inside a random building on any street. He would give a random ToonFest item and would disappear after you find him moving to another building anywhere. And getting items from him was rather tedious, so much so that we had an entire Discord made and we created an algorithm to find him. What is the team's current stance on fighting FOMO to ensure player population is retained in this manner?
Yeah, that's a really thoughtful question. I'm going to answer it as quickly as I can. I know there's a lot to unpack there. Willy the Wanderer, we saw the challenge. We loved that design, but saw the challenges of like, it could be better, right? It was intended to be an Easter egg of like, hey, this is just a fun thing that you might stumble across. And we realized, these items that we gave him are creating a bit of an unhealthy dynamic of they're too exclusive. So we're going to look at how to rebalance that. We very much want to make sure that we are being healthy to our players and not demanding their attention 24/7 or anything. So we try to design things in that way.
Yeah, it took me like 16 hours in total.
Yeah, thank you. We do need to wrap up. I'm sorry that we couldn't get through all the questions, but we will love to answer them for you at the booth. I have one last question for Ellie. What is the Toontown poster for this year?
So just really quickly, we will show you the poster. We really wanted it to be to capture as many special moments as we have had as we could over the past 10 years of ToonFest, as if you could put them all in a scrapbook. So without further ado, there's the poster.
And every single person in this room will get this poster on your way out today. Thank you so much for coming to this panel. We'll see you at 3:30 in this room for a chat with Ron Weaver. Thanks, everyone.